это НЛО. Да капец, вообще, всю жизнь мечтали, такое огромное. У меня пальцем не приближается. Обалдеть. Ну как, что НЛО, что это? Ну а что это, вот сами подумайте. Что это, посмотрите, какое оно огромное. Оно медленно...
About a generation ago, and it gives me the shudders to think that it was a generation ago, I was running around the country, sitting up all night in cemeteries, and sitting on hilltops in remote parts of the country, looking for these funny lights in the sky that were everywhere in the 1960s. There was one hilltop in particular that overlooked the Ohio River, where at that time there was a lot of boat traffic on the Ohio River day and night. And these funny lights would come down out of the sky and circle around these boats that were transporting cargo up the Ohio River. And the boatmen would turn on their searchlights and play games with these lights. The lights would jump out of the way of the searchlights. And I was sitting on my hilltop watching them, these games going on. They weren't saucers, they were lights. And I was sitting alone, and one of these lights came down very close to my car and passed over, there was a wooded area all around me. These hills were all wooded hills. And it passed over these woods, and it seemed to descend right into the forest right next to my car. And the next day when I woke up in my motel room there, my eyes were very sore, like they were full of sand. And this is a common effect of looking at these lights. It's called conjunctivitis. It's like looking into a bright arc light. And so the fact that my eyes were affected was proof that I had seen something there. Now, in the years 1964 to 1968, there was a worldwide epidemic of these lights. And I don't mean that it was an occasional light in the sky. They were everywhere, every damn night of the week. Time magazine did big editorials about it. The New York Times did front page stories about it. Now, I realized that the best way to tackle this was to pick one or two spots and make them a microcosm of the whole thing, and just study everything in that spot. Learn to know the people, study every event that happened, whether it was related to these things or not. Call them UFOs, but that's really not a good name for them. They were like living lights. These lights had an intelligence of their own. I made Point Pleasant, West Virginia, sort of my headquarters in '66. My first step in arriving in a strange town, a new town, was always to go to the police station and introduce myself to the police. In those days, I carried a pile of press credentials. I was writing in newspaper columns and so on. So I would introduce myself to the police so that they knew I was just another harmless nut. In November of 1966, 4 young people in a car, they were driving past this building, and they saw what looked like a very large man, 6 or 7 feet tall, standing next to this power plant. And for some reason, he scared the death out of it. They were all scared to death. So the boy who was driving hit the accelerator, and they drove out of there at a high speed. And looking back, this thing rose up in the air and followed their car. And they were going over 60 miles an hour on these dirt roads. And this thing was flying right along with them. So they drove straight to the police station. Now you have to realize in small towns, teenagers do not go to the police station voluntarily. And the police were so convinced by their behavior that they held a press conference the next day. And reporters from the local newspapers, from Charlotte and other cities around there, came to hear this very bizarre story, this flying man. At that time, Batman was very popular on television, so the newspapers labeled this creature Mothman. And that was the beginning of the Mothman caper, I guess you'd call it. In the next year, there were over 100 reports of this Mothman. Some of the people who reported seeing this thing were not only adults, they were responsible adults like bankers and local officials, the lady who was sort of the head of the Chamber of Commerce. In the Christmas season of 1967, in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, there was a bridge called the Silver Bridge that crossed the Ohio River. And on December 15th, 1967, that bridge collapsed, and it was loaded down with cars, people who had been Christmas shopping, and that sort of put a damper on all my investigations.
Fireworks. Excited? Плывет это практически стоит. От какого-то приблизить. А да. А что один? Оно он метает. А Москве что ж? Нет, зачем? Оно висит над нами.
What freak am I looking at? This thing is green. Holy shit, it's fast. Where did they go? That was some weird ass shit right there. Wow. What the fuck?
Would one be out at this time of night? What the fuck is that, Anthony? Like, seriously. What the fuck is that?
It's gone. There's another one. There's another one.
What is that? What the hell is that, Anthony? Should we be standing here?
Oh, Chris. This is the shit we always see.
Hurry up!
Your first sighting, Jennifer. That's not a plane. That's not a plane. That is not a fucking plane.